Meeting to order. If you would, please stand and join me in the pledge. It's not on there, but let's do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No. We'll see where that is amendable.
Okay, at this time, I will look for approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, wonderful. All right, start in.
All right, does everyone have the materials I gave you last week?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so top page is this one. I'm just gonna go over it briefly again. I know I went over it last week, and I'm gonna stand up here and do it. I apologize too. Kind of goes left to right, top to bottom. This is our best guess on, so this is general revenue. These are the enterprise funds. General revenue, this is our best guess on where we're gonna start with fund balance. So money left from last year, or the current year. These are our revenues for the year. So this is the Prop P tax. These are all the other taxes combined based on last year's numbers. Brings us to $2.7 million in revenue. Salary and benefits and just operational costs. So keeping the lights on, things of that nature. $2.56 million. You can see the operational cost and salary and benefits are $192,000 less than we're anticipating for revenue. So in years past, I think maybe 3 years ago, this number was red, and Happy worked to get it to green, and we've worked this year to get it even better. That's $192,000 to the positive. Then we talk about grants. So these are grant expenses. We add those to these operational totals. So that now brings our total budget expenses up to $2.79 million, which if you subtract from here, I'm sorry, from the total, we got 1.826. Then we have the things that we're really going to talk about tonight. So right here where it says capital improvements, these are the items, the large spend items that are on this sheet that we'll go through by department. Once you subtract the grants, the operational expenses, the capital expenses, we're at a $403,000 deficit, which that number is normally in deficit. Take that from these two, our revenue and our fund balance, leaves us with 1.458 at the end of the fiscal year. This number a couple years ago was 40% fund balance. We lowered it to 40, we wanted it to be at 50. Last year it was 43 or 44. We committed to getting it back up to 50 by 2028. As you can see, it's 57%. This is with a step raise. So this is everybody moving over on the salary chart, one column. And then you also have the step plus 3.8. So we hired CBiz to do a study, a salary study, about 2.5 years ago, and they each year commit to giving us a recommendation for, like based on the COLA and CPI. That recommendation this year is a 3.8% increase. So the step raise plus a 3.8 obviously increases the salary and benefits line, lowers that number, but still in the green, lowers this number to 54%, still above the 50%. And then these kind of flow the same way. So these are the enterprise funds. So this money can be used for anything, general revenue. This money has to be used for parks, streets, tourism. This is where we believe we're going to start fiscal 27 based on our best guess of the expenses left for the next 6-7 weeks. This is the revenue we anticipate in these departments. There is a little bit of payroll here in water and sewer. That's our folks up front here who take water and sewer bills. Expenses, debt service. So this is like Prop P, water tower, so on. Our debt service. and then these capital items, again, these items that we're going to discuss tonight. And then these are the total across, so salaries, operating, grants, capital, total expenses. And you take the beginning fund balance plus the revenue, subtract all that out. This is what it will leave at the end of the year. So this is the projected start for the enterprise funds. It's slightly inflated because it still has some Prop P fund, Prop S funds in it. And of course, those will be spent, if not in the next month and a half, definitely by the end of the year. We may have some left, and probably in September we'll talk about streets for next year. This is the projected fund balance at the end of the year in all the enterprise funds. And then if you total everything, here's where we start, here's where we end. And there is a significant difference there, but again, that's Prop P funds, Prop S funds. I gotta get that straight. There are full copies of the budget here like they were last week. If you want to take them and look at them or talk anything about line by line, but tonight we're going to talk about most of the expenses on here. We'll go department by department, and then at the end I'll spend some time on the administrative and legislative parts and go a little bit over economic development.
David, what do you attribute pretty remarkable improvement in the general fund surplus? So we got more revenue than we expected, or we cut expenses more?
Well, a few things. One, just as I'm doing this year, I'm underestimating tax revenue slightly. And Happy did that last year. I'd rather underestimate than overestimate.
So the tax revenue is for the Missouri state, the Missouri sales tax?
It's sales tax, property tax, utility tax, lodging tax,
Okay.
use tax. Yes.
Whatever the state wants to give us.
And
So it came in better than we anticipated this number last year, and hopefully, if we do things right, it'll come in better again this year. And I would also tell you that Happy tucked away some money. So if you remember last year, an excellent example is we asked for an extension on the street building to store all our vehicles. The capital project request you have has $225,000 in water and $225,000 in sewer. That was not approved last year, and we didn't spend it, but he budgeted it. So that's $450,000 that was budgeted that he was holding on to. He's not here tonight to confirm this, but in my estimation, because he knew we were going to need that money. And we're going to talk about that again tonight because we do need that. So several answers to that question, Patrick. You also have at your seat, just for reference, you have these. So this is just a pie chart showing kind of how much is spent in general fund by department, and then how much is spent in the enterprise funds by department when you look at the whole big picture. And that's based on our estimation for the coming year, for 2027.
Dave, I had trying to, I guess, get around a couple of things here and stuff. Was one, the Prop P funds, and then two, the loss of the line item of the fire department. You know, because I thought we were kind of replacing the Prop P with the fire department funds, but I think I'm wrong there. Because we obviously don't have a fire department anymore, and that was about a $200,000 line item.
It was $150,000 was the estimation we used from general revenue. There were also permits that we don't charge anymore.
Right.
So you guys agreed last year to figure out how much $150,000 would be of general revenue and lower Prop P by that amount. And
Right.
we did that. And that is, next week you'll have the tax rate hearing. That tax rate reflects that again. It lowers the Prop P, help me, public safety tax by
Okay.
17 additional
So it's
cents.
still an offset, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
we're lowering.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
We're lowering what we could charge for public safety tax according to the pro forma by 17 cents to account for the $150,000 we
Right.
used to spend on the fire department.
Okay, that's understood.
Yes, sir. You had a second question, though. You asked about the fire and,
Well, I mean, we had that line item for the fire department that we no longer have.
okay, and Prop P.
And Prop P,
Yes,
right?
yes, sorry. So it used to be .2684, and I think on the tax hearing next week, it's like 9 cents, something like that.
Right, okay.
Other questions? For now?
Nope.
Nope, then we will get started. I think up first is Mr. Sullivan.
Good evening, everyone. Probably out of all the department heads here tonight, mine's probably the least interesting, probably for you all. Really, there's essentially 3 items. One is not really truly capital, I guess. It's for a part-time inspector. It should be on your guys' list there, I do believe. Reason we're doing that is because, you know, with the new development coming in, there's a lot of things going to be happening with that, and with that starting up shortly, I'm trying to get somebody in part-time that's qualified. We want to start looking at that as soon as possible to set somebody up so when they start building those homes, we're ready. Because once they start, I've worked with these people before, so once they start, they don't stop. So
we already approved that position, didn't we?
We approved $20,000 last year, but we ended up not needing it, so we're asking for it this year.
I know we talked about it.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
So we'll continue that.
Before you go on, and I sorry to interrupt you, but should we look at which budget are we thinking the step raise or the step raise plus 3.8 before we hear from the department heads to decide, you know, because we got to know where we're at on that before we.
I looked at it the other way. Decide if you're going to spend all this, and then decide on
Gotcha.
the raises.
That's fine.
up to you all.
That's fine. I'm sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, not a problem, not a problem. So basically, to your point, we'll just carry that forward to this year. Item number 2, we're looking at purchasing a vehicle. We have $45,000 in there for a truck. Right now, we're driving the Ford Escape. We're sharing that between 3 of us. So if we have another person, that would be sharing that vehicle between 4 of us. Makes it kind of difficult to do. I know Dave and myself use our vehicles all the time, and it gets a little awkward showing up in my personal vehicle and people wondering what the heck I'm doing there. So, you know, having a vehicle with the city's name on the side of it, we would have loved to have gotten one of the other department vehicles, but unfortunately they weren't in the position to that we wanted to hang on to those. So we have $45,000 in there for a new truck. And then the third item is grant related, and this is for the grant that we're currently working through now. And there's $18,000 in there for that, for our walking trails grant, so we can finish that out. And that is all I have for capital expenses.
So there's an economic development line, a new line in Robert's department also. It's $4,000, and I'll talk about that later.
So we've never had a vehicle that would be suitable to keep like we did with this one?
Well, the idea was to keep the truck that the police
Yes.
department just retired, but it wasn't suitable to keep without major.
That was the plan, yeah.
Right.
was to keep that truck.
That's the right way to say it.
Yeah, it needed a lot of help.
So.
We sold it.
Why are we asking for a truck? How are you going to use the
on.
truck with?
I'm sorry?
How are you going to use the truck?
So one thing a truck will allow us to do you know, not everybody has to provide you a ladder, and there's times where we need to get in places with a ladder.
Okay.
So, and we have muddy boots, we have all kinds of stuff that I really don't like putting in the back of that vehicle myself. The ladder obviously won't fit in there very well. So, with the truck, we can have a tonneau cover on it. Also, when needed, we can, you know, we got a truck, we can pull a trailer in times of need where we need to do that. We're another vehicle for the city to use where a vehicle like that one, an Escape, it's suitable to carry people around, and that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I agree with you, pulling up to the job and not having the city's name on it's not a good scenario.
And once they figure out that it's me, it's okay, but I get the looks quite a bit when you pull up in my regular car, but that's okay too, but yeah, with
Just some magnets for your car.
there you go, I can do that, yeah. With 4 of us gonna be there, possibly sharing vehicles like that, it's, when we need to run out and do something and there's not the vehicle here, then we're taking our own vehicle, so.
So just, basically I've noticed in the past we have paid mileage, I noticed that changed quite a bit, but, so that would be to eliminate some expenses there and
Yeah.
stuff, so, okay.
Yeah, the only time that we would possibly have mileage then moving forward would be in the event that we went to a training and these vehicles would stay here so that those people that are still here use those vehicles, and we would do mileage reimbursement for our own vehicles if we took that to a training or something.
Any other questions for Robert?
Thank you.
We have Aaron Smith next.
Hello, everyone. The first line you see there is our marketing plan budget. It did not change from last year, but last year it went down $8,000 because I stuck $8,000 in a different line item. So it used to be at 51, so right now it's at 43, and that sounds good. I asked for that same amount this year. With the state grant lines, we've increased one of our grants from a $6,000 match to a $15,000 match. So that has put our it's normally around $80,000 for that MMG MPD state grant match. So with that $15,000 match, it's $30,000. So that's what's additional there. The Travel South grant is something that is completely reimbursed by the state. So that $41,000 will come right back to us. And then, like Dave said, there's an additional economic development services line so that I can allocate some time to doing that.
So is this a typo here? You said 41,000. This is
4,100.
4,100.
Oh yeah, that was a typo out of my mouth. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, 4,100.
So this MMG state grant, I mean, you've got it as an expense.
Half of that is reimbursed by the state.
By the city?
Well, we put up half, the state puts up
Oh, it's
half.
a 50-50 match.
It's a 50-50 match, sorry.
This is our 50%.
This is the whole thing. So that's why I'm saying half of it will be reimbursed. Yep.
And you'll notice there, Aaron also has tourism tax, TTC expenses are capital on the back. We took 30,000, or at least my recommendation is to take 30,000 out of this and put it into TTC. So instead of 43,000, it's 73,000. That's just an offset to the 110 that you see on the front.
Same.
Yes.
Right. Oh yeah. So I'll go through that as well. That website, we pay our web host, Jay Rudney. It's normally $7,200. We front load some hours during the year, and this normally takes us to it's 72 hours for the entire year. They do our SEO. They make sure all of the plugins are working. If you search online, anything about Certifed or anything, even Main Street Inn, will pop up as Visit St. John will be one of the first things listed. So they do a great job with SEO. And they're also have added a $750 charge this year to do ADA compliance. So a lot of websites have been getting, there's lawyers in New York that are searching for these ADA non-compliant websites and cashing in on out of court by sending them a notice that they're not ADA compliant. The $750 buy-in through Jay Rudney gets us ADA compliant, so we won't ever have to go through that. So that's super worth it. And then the county transient tax, that's new this year. So we're expecting I think, like you see, Dave's recommended $85,000. We're not going to start seeing that rolling in this year until probably around December. So we're just trying to hedge our bets. We think this will give us about $120,000 per year in spending, but we want to be a little conservative this year.
So Aaron, it's, I guess it's been no secret, we've had some errors in tourism in the past and stuff, but does this budget allow you, I mean, I think we've made some pretty big strides and stuff, and I'm no tourism expert, trust me, but, or marketing expert, but does this budget allow for maybe some more expansion into some things? Because I mean, seems like we're headed in the right direction, and I don't want to lose that momentum.
Well, I think getting that transient tax passed was huge, and the fact that the county decided that we were, the right agency to carry that across, that helps us get cohesive with what we're doing. We're looking at, like I said, expanding the trolley services to where they're running on a loop between here and Chateau Winery, Chateau St. Jean every weekend, and then going out towards Charlottesville with a shuttle. And that's something we'll be able to market. It'll expand what we offer, but also even, it's interesting because I am just one person. I'm trying to systematically put things in place, and we work with a lot of outside agencies that help us do a lot of the heavy lifting, but it's, I have some capabilities that allow us to save money in certain places, so that we can hire those agencies. And I think we're onward and upward.
What amount that new 6% transient tax? What percentage of it are you predicting is coming from city transients versus county transients?
We were predicting like 90,000 of that 120,000 would come from the city. I've just touched base, just actually last night, with the manager of the postcard cabins, which would effectively be the largest lodging option in the county. So these are about 40 independent, kind of tiny home units off in the woods out in Lawrenceston. So in between Terrace and Chateau St. Jean. And I'm just interested to get numbers from her, and she's super excited about working with us and hopefully definitely promoting the trolley. But hopefully there's some partners out there that'll help us kind of boost what we're doing, and she definitely sounds like it. But I'm really going to be interested to understand what sort of how they're contributing, like what is the actual contribution from having something like that. They're owned by Marriott, so that's very interesting. So they have a lot of money to throw. Say again?
How many cabins?
40. Yeah. And I was told Dina and some other chamber members went out there a couple weekends ago, and they had 29 of them rented. So
That was during the week.
Oh, it was during the week. Wow. So yeah.
How far away is that from town?
About 20, 25 minutes.
I never knew it was out there.
Out Y Road, right?
Y Road, yep.
The likelihood of them participating in town events is probably proportional how far away they are.
Yeah, and if we could, so basically what we're proposing with the trolleys is we start downtown. We have 2 trolleys running, right, on a loop all day. So it goes from downtown to Dewdrop Inn on a loop all day. The second trolley goes from Dewdrop Inn, Chateau St. Genevieve, stops at postcard cabins to pick up people and drop people off, and then goes to Terrace Winery, and then back to Dewdrop. And so we're hoping that'll bring people into town. And, a lot of these folks, and it aligns really perfectly with the brand that we're trying to set up here at the city, is like, this is a place to come get out of the hectic city and decompress. Well, that's what those cabins are all about. People are coming out there from big cities to just be out in the woods. But also, how long can you be out in the woods? You know what I mean? Until you start like twiddling your thumbs. And if we can offer something where they don't have to get in their car and drive, because again, it's all about decompression. If they don't have to think about it, they can just scan a little button, buy a ticket, get on that, and get to downtown where it's walkable. There's not a ton of people. You know, it's a really good match. And so we talked a lot about that last night. And so I think that's going to be cool. It's going to be cool to that we're administering this money for the county, because it'll get us more connected with the things that are out there, and you know, just make us a more cohesive unit.
Anything else for Aaron?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Chief Halleck.
He wasn't ready.
All right, I don't really have a lot. I think the biggest thing I'm going to talk about is kind of the vehicles. I'm still trying to stay on the 2-vehicle rotation to keep our vehicles fresh and updated. Saying that, you know, we're requesting the money, but if I can get a grant, because I dig in these things all day, to at least pay a big chunk of it. So like the Blue Shield is covering $29,000 of a vehicle. So, you know, if we budgeted for $60,000 and we were only going to use, you know, we're getting 29 of it back, then we're going to actually be saving money. So there'd be money going back in eventually next year or whatever. And then, you know, I've got someone sitting on a grant right now too. So if everything works out right, I could potentially have a whole new fleet this year or next year if it works out right. But I'm also looking at, because we're doing away with enterprise is what we're wanting to do. We had a lot of empty promises. It's not really effective enough for us for what we do. They don't need to keep track of our maintenance. We do that ourselves. We take our stuff places. You know, we're paying every month. So, and if we pay off a vehicle, we still have a lease program. So even after 5 years, we're still paying on this vehicle if we want to keep it. So we're looking at going back to doing the bank system again and just doing it that way. I'd like to potentially probably refinance these Tahoes that we have now to get them into the bank so we can save money, potentially save money, I'm hoping. So that's really about the vehicles. That's the main part of that. Is I'm trying to get a lot of grants for it. We are still trying to budget for it, so if I can't get a grant, then at least have some money to get a vehicle. And I know for sure one is going to be covered by some of a grant. So, and then we got our, you know, the basic stuff, our tasers, body cameras. We're still in a 2-year contract with all that. There are 2 or 3 more years left on that contract. And then we're looking at painting the PD and a new copier for the PD. Those are 2 things I can't really get on a grant, so that's kind of why I got to ask for them. The copier is pretty old. We have a bunch of issues with it now, and then the paint's just kind of bring a little life into the PD because it's bare. So I think that's pretty much all we have.
What was the, I know you requested for the in-car radars and.
Oh yeah, I just don't want to spend any more money into the Durangos, and I put in for 3, but then I got one on a coalition grant, so.
Oh.
So then just the other 2, I'm just going to, my plan is basically just replace them as I'm doing upfitting on a vehicle. It's going to be easier that way because then we can just roll it in with our lighting and everything else. So instead of taking it all out of our budget, we can just have it basically almost pretty much like financed with our other upfitting.
Now, the tasers and the body cameras, that we're only getting, if I remember correctly, only so many per year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
them in, or?
It's everything. So I've been working with them. I've been having some meetings with them here recently. One of us will budge eventually, but I don't like their pricing.
Axion, or?
Yeah, from Axon. Right. They keep going up more and more. So I've actually, you know, when I've gone to these conferences and stuff, I actually mingle with a lot of the vendors and looking at these body cameras and stuff like that and seeing what else is out there as far as what we can save as far as money-wise and still have good quality stuff. So, you know, I'm not going to go with the bottom person just because they're cheap. You know, we're going to make sure we get good equipment that's going to last in the long run. And at the end of the day, if it comes back to Axon again, then we're still going to be hitting the books and trying to get a good number and go from there with it. But we're still locked in with them for, I think, another 2 years. So that's all I got.
see over half of what we spend goes to the police department,
In general revenue, yes.
general revenue. How does that compare our expenditures with other cities our size?
I mean, it's going to depend on how many officers they have. Obviously, we have approximately, if just full-time, 19 employees, 11 of those are police officers, so that's going to be the majority of the expenses. But it is comparative.
To other
Yes.
cities our size, half their general fund go for police
Again,
department.
it's hard, because if you say you look at Perryville, well, they have trash. Or you look at cities that provide electric. Those percentages are going to be way off. But in looking at ours, the amount of payroll compared to other cities, yes, it's comparable.
Up the free grants. I like grants.
Anything else for Chief? Okay. On to Corey, who gets the next 4.
All right. Park, we have a splash pad for 25,000. Hey, you can help out with that a little bit, because that's with,
So 25,000 will come out, if they approve it,
Yes.
25,000 out of park funds, and then general revenue will pitch in 25,000, and then we have a commitment for 25,000 from Rotary, plus a commitment for in-kind donation, so dirt work, concrete of 25,000. And then I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later, but that's that 25,000.
and the only other thing in parks is trash cans and fencing. There's a section of fence out of Valley Spring Park. Got a call on it because we're riding through there, and then with the big trucks going back to Mid-States, worried about one of the kids getting hit, so we're going to close that in and then put up some more trash can surrounds. That's it for that. Move on to the street. We have a 1-ton pickup that will replace the 2013 Silverado we have. Still runs. The plow, eyes and spreader, we bought it more than last year, so we just took it out of service with the plow and spreader. Street improvements, 175,000. That's just general overlaying street work. Tap grants, Dave. It's just
That is what remains of the TAP grant that we're currently in, extending the sidewalk along South 4th Street.
and next one's sidewalk and green repairs.
So I raised that from 35 to 50. We only had about half of that used this year, but I'd also like, at the end of the year, like this year, we're a little late in the year, but if we don't get a ton of applicants to repair or replace their sidewalks, then we'll go replace as many as we can.
So do we have a bunch
A bunch.
of sidewalk that needs?
There's a bunch of sidewalks that need replaced. They're not all city-owned,
Right.
but yes.
4th Street Bridge, or, that isn't gonna be ready till another year,
That's
correct?
why I took that out. So that's the flap grant. If you remember, Commissioner Zika came to us maybe a year ago and said that that's going to be $250,000 more than they anticipated. So there's $100,000 that's going to be up to you all, but they're not going to need that in the next fiscal year, to my knowledge. Nothing has even started yet.
So I thought 26 was the deadline and there was no more extensions, and now there's more extensions.
Yes, sir.
I live long enough.
All right, takes over Progress Parkway, seal on the trail. We have a crack sealer, but the width of the cracks is too much, so we'll have to hire a company and put mastic in those. When we bought the machine, Craftco, 3/4 of an inch, I think is our max, and they're way wider than that, so.
So you said mastic?
Yeah, it's laid down with, it's Craftco makes a machine as well, but it's just, I think it's 4 inches wide, and they go down there and it's sealed.
So there's no sand then anymore?
No, saying was a bad idea from the salesman from Craftco.
Didn't we just do that 2 years ago?
It's in desperate need.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we put the sand in 2 years ago.
yes. And that's apparently not enough.
Any plans on doing anything with the street itself? Because those cracks are getting wider and wider.
Yep. It's, yeah.
Part of it, the street is part of it.
Are you talking just the trail or the parkway itself?
No,
Trail.
trail.
Okay. Are we gonna do anything with
Yeah.
the streets?
Well, we would crack seal. Is that what we're at?
But, yeah, well, I mean, but if we do the street, we have to do some mastic on there as well.
Yeah.
So, that number, Aaron Braun is supposed to be meeting me this week. He's supposed to be last week and he was out of town. But that number, I can have two different numbers for you guys for sure, but yeah, Aaron wasn't able to meet me, so.
I'm not sure what year they actually sealed the Progress Parkway, and they also sealed.
I don't think the parkway ever has been. The trail has last year or the year before.
2 years.
Yeah. The street itself, I don't think ever has.
You've done some crack seal.
Yeah. it's been-
Or crack sealed, yeah, but not a full.
Oh, I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but where they do it in three, where them seams are right there, it's separating bad, so that was on my list when I meet with Aaron, so.
Okay, Valley Springs, we're getting grass in the cracks and everything that hasn't been sealed for a long time.
And this fall when we do all the crack sealing. Yep, we're busy with the streets and everything, the crop pests and everything, but yes, this fall it'll be on the list. So,
Okay,
yep.
sounds good.
All right. Next one takes me to sign print system. This is a computer that actually prints our signs versus us doing individual letters. And you pay attention, there's no formality through any street sign throughout town. So I like to go through and get that. We'll go through and do all the signs on machine, and then MUTCD. I got the format of how they'll be done, so everything be uniform throughout town. That also includes some sign blanks and sign post itself. The next one, barricades and cones. Need to upgrade everything we have. Some of our stuff don't even have reflective material on it. We also like to do some event railing per se versus just a barricade. These things will lock together. That they did look a little more clean. Chief applied for a grant as well, which would be in addition to. So, but yeah, I think we need to upgrade that for sure. Street saw, we don't have any more. Ours had to come apart on 6th Street.
Walk behind
Yes.
water and the whole.
Yes, what, yeah. The one we have now is 14-inch diameter blade, which it cuts 4 5/8 deep. We're looking at 20-inch, which will cut 7 5/8, so it should get through any overlay and everything. But yeah, what we have is definitely old. Next one, pressure washer. Looking at a hot seat machine. All of our equipment, we pressure wash it, but I just think adding extra hot water to it takes the grease and everything off. So we try to keep the equipment.
You say a hot seat?
Yeah.
Chinese?
Oh, no, I mean, there's several different brands.
Hotsy's a good machine.
Yeah.
That's what we used out there. We had several of them.
Yeah, we had a couple of previous employments to it.
Power
Made
washing.
in China now, though.
Is it?
Yeah, I just looked at them.
And then the last one is $5,000 for street trees.
It was money well spent last year, our $5,000. Got 17 trees in, and I think all but one have made it because of good watering. And we're going to continue that effort.
Yep.
A few years ago, the Rotary wanted to do a trade project out on Progress, but I've never seen.
They're out there.
Yes.
Those trees have been there for
Sad
3 or 4 years now, and they were replaced, some of them twice, and they just,
None of them.
I thought it was Johnson grass.
no,
They're there.
there's probably 20 to 25 trees out there.
Really?
Yeah, they're awfully sad looking.
They're getting a lot of drift that's killing some of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of herbicide getting their way.
Yeah, stuff we couldn't really foresee, I think, when we, Rotary Club did that.
Been around up 53.
yeah.
Moving on water, gate valve replacement. We're trying to replace 2 valves a year because we just don't have enough valves in town, or if we do, they don't work. Market Street between 10th and 2nd, we can't shut it down. I've closed every valve and they don't work, or they're stuck. So,
Same thing you had up at the end of Jefferson when you were working on,
yep. Yeah, so trying to add that in. Next, adding a building to 590 Market, which is the street department. That's $225,000. Any questions?
Not yet.
Okay.
You know I do though.
Yeah. That's all right. $6,000 for Basel Drive booster pump. That is the booster station out there that feeds Progress Parkway. So, on-site water tank. Dave has a 100,000 recommended, but he bumped it to 180. That is what we talked about last meeting about the roof. You asked me how long the work would take. Estimated 5 to 6 weeks. He said
that's not them fabricating.
no, it's 8 to 10 weeks. We'd be running. Then when we get on site, 5 to 6 weeks. So we made a plan 24/7. He said that's a high estimate, but and also he said could extend it 15 to 20 years for that water tower. New water tower is roughly $1 million.
That was 427,000 gallons,
427,000. Yes, yes.
1995 or something.
Yep. Water well maintenance, 32,000. We clean 2 wells a year, which is, knock on wood, helped us out with the gallons per minute coming to a water plant. We were down to 500 gallons a minute, and now we're up above 1,000, which is very beneficial when we have a water leak. Hydrant replacement, once again, 2 a year. That may be 2 every other year. I have to look back, but once again, Walnut, that one was 1967. So just trying to get them upgraded. You can't get parts. Some of them don't have foot valves, so you can't work on them unless you kill the whole lot. So just trying to update the older ones. Any ones we're bringing off of the water line project that are newer, we're repurposing them. So
Probably, what, that one at Walnut Ranch was leaking for 3 weeks.
yeah, waiting on parts, and wrong parts came in, and then we were waiting on jokers on the water line project because we just repurposed that one out there because it was a 99 or something. So
Quite a few years newer.
yes. All right. Water plant, it's a clay valve. This is one. So we have 2 pumps that feed the whole town, high service pumps. I showed Bob this the other day. It's a valve that goes in there that shuts the water off. So if that pump or motor would go out, we'd be kind of up a creek right now because the other one would run, but it'd push water back and it would flood water plant. So we need to get that replaced so we can kill the water. New Ford Ranger. That would replace the Ranger that we have now at the water maintenance. And then we were talking about that would be repurposed at City Hall for their second vehicle. If you guys, prove that. It's got low mileage, I think 25,000 miles, but it'd be a good truck. It has some toolboxes in it, so I think they could be beneficial. New water plant, Dave put that in there.
Just slowly tucking money away. A new water plant does not cost $100,000.
Yeah, no.
Really?
New water plant meter. That meters of water coming in from wells. That is a DNR requirement that we have to report that. So it's one of the things. Progress Parkway water tank. That's payment on the existing water tower out there. water main improvement, that could either be South Gabourey, Robert Street next year, one of them streets that are in rough shape, Memorial, anyone we talk about. Water tank maintenance, that went up this year. It was 54,000 or something, but Progress water tower was never on there. So it was erected in 2019 and never been inspected, so we don't want that one to get away from us.
Did we ever paint the one by Road?
Yeah, it got painted. I've looked back. 2 years ago, I think. Yeah. Every 5 years it gets paint job.
Gotcha.
And there's a service schedule on it, on all of them except for Progress now. All right. Lift station maintenance, $25,000 for panel replacement at lift station. Once again, there's addition for turn $25,000 to 590 Market. Sewer improvements, that's 2 years on Cochrane's study that they came over and went over. We're gonna just do a 1 year thing, 2 year, we can get a little more bang for a buck with mobilization and everything. They can do more work while they're here. Fencing, $5,000 at the wastewater plant. Section of fence tree went through, and there's another section that's down. Once again, DNR. Building has to be secured. And then sewer tank aeration. That's a 1 million gallon tank that's down at the wastewater plant. Big round concrete building. Metro Ag comes twice a year and they pump the sludge out, but it has its own ecosystem growing in it. It's got trees and because there's no aeration in it. So there's a root system and we'll end up getting a crane in there to clean it out. But that's been, been kind of an ongoing issue. They used to have big 3-fan propellers, kind of like a boat drop, and amount of trash we get because of the bar screen, they ran for like 3 minutes and locked them up. There's a lot of debris we get at the wastewater plant. Well, that was short and sweet. Any more questions?
So, Dave, the two, after going down and taking a look, this on-site water tank, because there's severe consequences, what can we do to move that forward? And this valve, what can we do to move that forward that we can say, let's go?
Well, I talked to you last week about doing that with the on-site water tank, and I think you went down and saw it.
Right.
Hands on or eyes on. We need to move forward. Corey was at a conference earlier this week, where he found another vendor who said, no thanks. So it looks like we're going to be down to one. He's checking with one more. So usually, obviously, we would go out to bid, require 3 bids. This is, in my book, an emergency. It needs to be taken care of. And Corey's checked with 3 vendors now. 2 have said no. 1 has given us a price of $360 over 2 years. And I think, barring him getting an answer from Cunningham, that they're going to do it cheaper, and they're supposed to get back to him next week.
Yeah, it'll be beginning of the week. I told him we're on deadline because next week's a 30-day for McGuire.
We'll sign, as long as you all are okay with this, we'll sign that agreement and get that going. As far as the valve, if you all want, this is preliminary, obviously we have to pass the entire budget, but if you're okay with these capital expenditures, at least that one, we can go ahead and get that ordered also.
If you go down and look at the consequences, it's not good.
No.
So, but I think it needs to be ordered tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm with Bob. I went down and looked at that down there too.
Yeah.
Things.
But this water tank replacement, is just as critical.
Yes, very.
Now that tank out off of Bosler is the same type of tank.
It's built together tank.
Built together tank, and it's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets inspected, yearly, painted, cleaned out. Yeah.
Right.
I get the complete inspection report. Like I just showed you the pictures, but it's probably 20-page report, and it shows you pictures. Actually, I just got Emerald's email to me yesterday because they just inspected last month.
Now, when they take that offline to do that repair, will you repaint the tank at that time?
Possibly. The inside for sure, yes. The outside depends weather-wise. They may have to come back in the spring.
Right, but the inside will be.
Yes, it'll be coated and painted, yes.
Can you get this valve in, and get that in place before, we have to shut that tank down?
I'll call, once, like I said, you guys give me the blessing, I will call tomorrow and get
Because
lead
that's
time
kind
out.
of,
Yeah,
you know, important and stuff, that we're down to one pump there. We've lost a second backup and stuff, but, how many weeks were we gonna be running that water plant 24/7?
5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, so we gotta have everything in order to, that's a big tank down there by the water plant. Outside, it's critical.
How long will it take to put that valve in?
Probably 2 days. We'll do it ourselves.
Right.
Well, one day we get it bolted in place and one day for get it wired in.
I guess what I'm getting at is we need to have that in there before we take that tank offline.
It'd be nice.
Some reserve
Yes.
balance there.
Yep.
Any other questions on those capital expenditures for our quarry, park, streets, water, sewer?
Somebody did ask me about why we were buying small trucks. Why don't we get a full-size truck that we can use for other stuff? Cost of the truck?
Like on the Ranger?
Yes.
The Ranger, that's probably the truck we use the most. I mean, it's small. Dave reads meters in it and everything, so he doesn't want to. He'd rather not have a full-size truck. And any water leak, that's a truck that's on there. Just he has all tools in it. He prefers a Ranger over.
So it's not something we need to be hauling
No,
heavy stuff. We have other.
We have a 1-ton. That's at the maintenance shop too. So Frankie will he'll pull his excavator with that, and Dave will be a Ranger.
Any other questions for?
I'm good.
Okay.
Don't pause too long.
Thanks, Corey. So I'll go back to the top of the page for the admin stuff. If we start up at the top with legislative, there's 45,000 was in that. If you remember, I handed out that 5-year capital plan to you maybe a month ago, or 6 weeks. If you remember back when we did City Hall remodel, there was an IT package that was going to cost approximately 75 or 80,000. That got cut. Happy did go ahead and have the wiring installed as part of the remodel. I think that I can get what we would like to see. A few of you have asked about getting the TVs up there so that this can also be projected up there so you can look straight across, and then there'd be a TV out there that could have either the whatever we're going over here or the agenda on it. I think we can get that done for about 25,000, and that's what I'm recommending. In the 5-year plan is also a facilities plan, so that's someone that comes in, goes through all of our facilities and tells us how we can save some money on lighting, heating, cooling, all those things. I would like to do that, but I did cut that for the coming year, but it will appear next year, probably.
So that is just the planning stage. That's not implicating any projects.
Correct. You see Placer AI there. We talked about that in years past. That's paid for under the economic development line or near the economic development line in Placer AI, in the legislative fund. And we've used that this year pretty well. Aaron has made good use of it. We've also made the results, I don't know if to say it's results, but the tracking, would you call it, Aaron, available to local businesses if they want to come in and
Absolutely.
yeah, so Placer AI has been more valuable. If you remember a year ago, I said, I don't know if we need this or not. I was wrong. So it's a good tool.
And if we're going to be doing economic development,
Yes.
it'll be even just as valuable for that, if not more, actually.
SGTV, so that's, the TV station. We give them a specific amount each year, that's $28,250 this coming year. Parkland Ready, I mentioned this last week. Parkland Ready, SEMO RPC backed out of that contract with Scott Sattler, so that money is not even needed this year. We are a member of Parkland Ready without any cost. That money was for the economic development contract they had with him, and that is canceled. And then, if you remember, we've had this conversation obviously in years past, and we asked both Chamber of Commerce and Pro St. John to come to us with a plan. I gave you a copy of that last week, and we can talk about this more in weeks to come. I think that was Alderman Steiger's suggestion last week, but my recommendation to you is that we pay the Chamber $5,000 and we give Pro St. John $5,000, but with some requirements. And some of those requirements would be listed in this document that I gave to you.
When it says requested, who requested?
So if you remember, I don't know,
Haven't we always given the chamber 5?
6.
6? Okay.
Yes, so I sent a request to them maybe 6 weeks ago saying, hey, the budget's coming. Tell us what you would do with $5,000 to $10,000. The chambers came back with what they would do with 10, and I asked 5 to 10, and Pro St. John's came with what they would do with 5, and my recommendation is to give 5 to each, again with some requirements. I'm going to give you a brief. Pro St. John's focus is downtown St. John, and we've talked about focusing on downtown St. John, whereas the chamber's focus is wider as far as luring, whether it be small business, industry, or factories. And I think we can work. We've talked about growing our economic development reach, and I think we can work with both organizations to do that with these amounts of money. And then I come back next year and say, here are the 5 things we gave you to do. You did or didn't do them. So we're going to shift our money this way, or we're going to keep it like it is. I had hoped to talk to you about a facade grants program. So you see that originally that was me, stuck $50,000 in there for a facade grant. So basically that would be a grant run through the city, but also promoted by Pro St. John or the Chamber or both, where downtown businesses could apply for $5,000 to $10,000 to do tuck pointing, new windows, new doors, whatever that is. But I did not recommend that. I wanted to get that number up over 50%. We can add it back because it is over 50%, but I did take it out this year. And then last, in legislative, stormwater improvements. So it's going to take a lot more than $100,000 to do all the things we've talked about over the course of the past 2 years, but we are taking steps in that direction. So what I've put in there is $100,000 for this coming year. Any questions on the legislative pieces?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You gave us this handout on the strategic growth and vision. This is the one that the chamber put out for us, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they're asking for 10,000 to start it. Is that coming out of that 10,000 we
So,
initially give them? Are they gonna take the 5,000 and use that toward this?
no, that's not my
This
recommendation.
is separate 10,000.
No. They're asking for 10, I'm recommending 5.
Okay. And that will give them enough to do what they want to do as far as setting it up.
I don't know if it'll give them enough to do what they want to do, but I think one of the things I think about with the chamber, and they've talked about this, they came in and made a presentation to me, they will come in and make it to the board also, is putting together a professional business recruitment packet where they can hand that out, in addition to maybe going to some conferences and things of that nature. I think they can get that done for $5,000.
Yeah.
Any other questions on administrative capital requests?
I don't know if this is a question, but a comment as far as the Pro St. John, not knowing what they're going to use the funds for, and I realize that's where our historical district is. Is that why we're really focusing on that? Because if we look at our tax income, where we get the most tax, most of the sales tax comes from outside the downtown area. Feel a little bit different about that.
I feel like there's twofold there. One, you're correct. The commercial district probably brings in more sales taxes. This is where most tourists come to see, and that's going to bring in more sales taxes if there's more shops down there. And there's a lot more older buildings down here than there is out there. I don't know that they're going to focus on buildings, but I think part of it will be buildings, part of it will be streetscape. So whether that be more trees, which we are helping pay for, or planters, or benches, or crosswalks, I think that's where they're focused on the tourists, or just folks who live out in the county, come shop downtown.
Right.
And that's where that 5,000 will go.
That was defined through Main Street.
Right.
So it had to be a defined geographic area. So that was the, am I right?
It is, so it is a defined area, but our mission statement, so through Missouri Main Street to qualify for some of the grants and program sort of consultation that they give, it is basically focused on downtown, but it's housed in an organization that is planning on doing things that are more economically vital for the city as a whole, and then the county, and then the region. And I think the board that we put together is more focused that way. So if you guys approve this as a budget line and you want Pro St. Jim to come in and talk about it, then Josh, the president, has that presentation, and he'll walk you through how he feels like this will be relevant to the whole city outside of just the downtown.
I'd be willing to listen.
Okay. If you go down to administrative there's a municipal code update. We cut that, I believe, last year. We need to do that. We've got some sections of code that are outdated. I'm sure Robert can give us several examples because he and I talked about it, but we need to get that done. New desktop computers, so that's on that, all of this is on that 5-year plan that you have, but it is time for new desktop computers inside City Hall. It was originally 30. I got a quote that's about a little less than 25,000. That'll replace everybody's desktop on here over in City Hall and Dennis's. Yeah, down at the street shop.
Is that including the server, or is that just the computers?
No, computers.
Because we just bought a server, didn't we?
Yeah, we're fine there. And then splash pad, I mentioned this earlier. My idea was to commit $25,000 from general revenue, $25,000 from parks. If you can count in-kind and cash, there's $50,000 from Rotary and those businesses. So that's $100,000. And the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant just opened, and I'm meeting with the Dunsies tomorrow to go over applying for that grant. That would be $100,000 match. If we can get more, so that's $200,000. In terms of splash pads, that's a small, tiny splash pad. If we wanted to grow that to about 300, you could get a larger splash pad with some benches, and I'm going to call them shade sails, things of that, and then, you know, hopefully get that up in the park. We haven't finalized a location, but I think we're pretty well locked in on the old pool area.
Did we decide if that was going to be like chlorinated or freshwater or anything?
We are trying to do a recirculating system. Instead of just wasting the water, the water would go into a in-ground well and just recirculate. We would have to treat that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you do not, there was some folks out there saying you had to be help me, Robert, pool certified. You do not have to be pool certified to maintain this system.
But I mean, is that something you could put a chlorinator on? That way
It would be chlorinated.
as opposed to just dumping tablets down it, I mean, it would be a system in place for it.
So do we have a way to get water there, or we rely on the county?
There's a 4-inch line right there.
Pardon me?
There's a 4-inch water line that runs.
That went to the old pool?
Yeah, in fact, there's a fire extinguisher, or fire hydrant right there.
And one of the big expenses for a splash pad would be pumps because of the elevation. right?
Yes, so
Yeah.
part of that expense, that 200,000 would have to pay for a pump because the water pressure there is not high enough. So I guess what I'm saying is if you feel like you'd like to bump that 25,000 up, we can. If not, it'll be smaller because we have to have the pump, we want the recirculating system, that type stuff.
So the decision to put it up in the park, I know there was some controversy over in the city and up there, and that's been all clearly,
That was the master plan.
It is. The master plan that the park board and this board adopted shows a splash pad right where we're planning to put it. If we're going to apply for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, which scores points based on public input and plans, we're going to get all those points if we put it where we say we were going to put it. And I think it naturally fits right there.
Yeah, with the pavilion too.
I mean, a pavilion would be a separate cost.
Yeah. But it's planned to go in.
But if let's say we kept it as is, and you said that if we added to it, we could add benches and all that stuff, that all could be added. I mean, this doesn't have to all be done at once, does it? I mean, it's gonna be designed to where we can add the extra stuff later, right? Or even more that
need
we're
some
not
more
thinking of
donors.
right now. Do I?
We
So
need some more donors.
yes to
Well,
both.
yeah, I mean, I think once the project got started and once we got it out there, because not too many people know about it yet, you might get some more
Yeah.
corporate backing and stuff for it, but, I mean, if we went with the basic plan now, it is expandable for, in the future. It's not oh, well, we should have done that, it's too late now, this is what we got.
The pavilion and the benches, yes. The splash pad, we got to pick a size. Yeah.
How about restrooms, or,
That's part of the pavilion.
that's part of the plan?
That would be nice.
Yes, it would.
so we still own a parcel of land there where the old pool was.
I mean, we own the entire park.
Yeah, and that's where the splash pad would be, where the old pool was.
So what are you thinking of as far as increasing the money to help pay for some of this?
300,000 to 350,000 would be a nice water park, or not water park, splash pad, shade sails, benches. Obviously, it has to be ADA, so there has to be a walkway to the splash pad. I still don't think that would cover restrooms and a pavilion, but we would try to go to find some donors for that. So that means if we're going to go for the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, if we're going to do 300,000, then we need to commit 150. Right now, we're at 100.
We'd have to increase that by 50,000.
So
Or find some more donors to get it right at 200,000 and match 200,000.
but we'd have to find those donors in the next few months because that
Yeah.
grant is due in end of November, I believe.
And that's a 50/50 grant?
Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
we need to decide that now.
Well, we
It's not
need some
something we can
talking.
do a budget amendment for later, is it?
You can do a budget amendment later,
For it.
absolutely. But if you are solid saying, we want to do this, I can make that change before we pass the budget in 2 weeks or start to talk about passing the budget.
I mean, if we don't need it, I mean, we can budget for it and not need it as well.
Right.
If we got more private donors.
Well, is there a list of people that we can call? Who's gonna do the calling?
Dave?
We've done some of that work already, but we can try again.
So do we want to put
It is on-
additional 50,000 in?
It
or
is on
what are we
Matthews
talking
Drive,
What I was thinking.
if anybody, things are clicking there. Sorry?
I said, are you asking for additional 50,000, or what are we talking about?
So I'm asking, this is 50,000, 25 from parks, 25 from general revenue. Do
Okay.
you want to bump that up to 100,000, maybe 50,000 from parks, 50,000 from general revenue? If that's the case, that's fine. That number, that 54% or 57% is going to go down a few percentage, maybe a percentage point, maybe a percentage point.
Is Parks okay with more money coming out of them?
Well, I mean, if we spend 50 out of parks, it's gonna cut into, they don't get that much in tax revenue. So that money's gonna be transferred out of general revenue.
Okay.
Well, Dave, we'd still be over our target if we took a percent.
Correct, or it could come out of debt
If we did this,
service.
would still be above our target that we wanted to be.
I'm sorry,
If you said it would take 1% out of that 54%,
maybe,
we would be at 53%. We're still over our target that we had
yes.
of 51%.
And Sue made a good point, that doesn't have to come out of general revenue, that could come out of capital or debt service. And right now, there's $400,000 in debt service, and we've paid all our bills for the year.
Well, I think it's a no-brainer. I think that people of St. Genevieve will want it. I think if it's not gonna hurt anything, it's only gonna drop down 1%. I think we should think about doing it. I mean, we've come this far, we've done all the research and figured all of it out.
There's definitely momentum building.
We can't sit here and just keep wondering. I mean, we're gonna have to do something.
Well, and I'd love to
When it was
start,
at the Yanks field, I'm not against it up in the park.
Yeah, it would be great.
I
I
didn't
think
like
it'd be
it,
really
no.
great for the people.
Oh, the Quarry League over here.
Or, yeah, I'm sorry, Quarry League.
and I think it'd be great for us to start checking off some of the boxes on that master plan.
I agree.
I mean, there was a lot of work and thought put into that.
It's been
and-
years.
I agree with
So what
Amy.
kind of maintenance staff does this require, or what? I mean, I'm sure it's somebody's gonna have to
They
maintain
don't have to
it.
be certified. We know that.
What?
They don't have to be certified.
I'm pretty sure we could do that in-house with the crew that we have.
I think Corey's expressed interest in building.
Pam, Sue, who else?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Corey.
I put chlorine in
I
my
mean,
pool.
it could be the Alliance splash pad.
Oh, interesting.
We don't get a-
Where's Eric?
I'm not knocking Alliance, they donate to the city or to some of the folks around town. But yes, if we want to increase that, we can.
The mid-range splash pad size too also takes you, for the examples that they gave us when we met up there, takes you from more of your small child usage to a wide range of small child to larger children, and that one mid-range one did have a lot of accessible unit devices in there as well. So that would be a draw for everybody versus the smaller ones you get doesn't have as many features that are more interesting to older children.
And I just want to level set. So if we're talking 200,000 total, we're talking a 25-foot circle, probably with one feature, right? So water shoots up out of the ground and it has one pole that comes up that shoots water out. That's it. If we move up to 3 or 350, you're talking a larger pad, so maybe 40-foot diameter, or maybe it's a square with multiple features, benches, sunshades. But you're still not, like, I don't want anyone to envision that just because we're going to 3 or 350, we're going to see a giant bucket. You know, now we're up at 500,000 if that's what you're thinking.
Well, I think just as long as we do, like Alderman Prince said in the master plan, let's have something we can add on to and add features, you know, in the master plan that we say, okay, we only got this much, we're gonna do this much, but we can add, you know, without tearing everything up, or but put all the provisions in there to add those things.
Because the one thing that some places, I'm not gonna point fingers, but some places that are designed and built, they don't leave room for future add-ons and stuff, and then they become stale and not usable, or not desirable, I should say. If we make, or set this up in a way that we can, you know, every 4 or 5 or maybe 10 years or so, add a feature to it to make it, keep it relevant, you know.
So am I hearing you'd like to increase those numbers to 50,000?
I'm for
Yes,
it.
I'm for it.
I mean, as long as we can, yeah.
I think the city should step up. And maybe we can get the other people to start stepping up.
I like it.
I think we should reach for the sky on this one too. Like, don't stop at the 300 if we can get more.
We can get more, yeah.
Is that in Ward 2?
Okay.
As far as we can go.
That's Ward 1.
Then on the very,
Yeah, it is Ward 1.
anything else on administrative or legislative? I just want to go over these last few at the bottom of the page. So the downtown TIF, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. Money comes in, money goes out. We put 50,000 in there. Debt service, so that's our debt service payments for the certificate of participation and the Prop S bond. That's principal and interest. And then Prop S improvements, that's my best guess at what we will have left at the end of the fiscal year. And some of that will pay for the projects that are still happening. But if there's anything left in Prop S, I'll come back to you. We'll talk about streets here in another month or so. If you remember earlier, Corey talked about we set aside $175,000. If there's anything left here, we'll put that together and come to you with, here are our suggested streets for 2027.
When's that TIF expire?
2036.
Oh, okay. I thought it was sooner than that.
Long ways.
And that's the only active TIF right now, right? Yeah, okay.
Yep. And that is all the capital projects.
Corey, I had a question. I didn't notice one of the things we had talked about was your roof on the maintenance building.
On 590?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna just tie it in with this money, with this.
Oh, with your addition?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, we got a couple spots that need to be resealed, so yes.
So all these things that we heard about tonight are in the recommended, and those are already reflected in here, right? In both of these?
Everything you see, yes, on here that says recommended is already reflected in here.
Right.
But it will change a little bit. We're gonna increase.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you need to know?
I need to know if you all are okay with everything we went over on this list tonight,
I'm good with it.
I'm okay.
which will put us, you know, again, there are going to be some small changes. We just found out we got approved for the historic preservation grant that we applied for 15 months ago. So that's got to be put in here. The change to the splash pad's got to get put in here. I just found out like 4 days ago that we probably will continue to own the Welcome Center into October. So I'm going to put a little bit of those utilities in here. So this number had changed just a small amount.
Who's still paying utilities?
That's unbelievable.
What?
We're gonna still.
They reimbursed us.
That's this year, right? October this?
Yes, they reimbursed us most of those utilities, but they also thought that they were going to hand it over, or we were going to hand it over in July. Now it's looking like October. It's the federal government, I don't know what to tell you.
You know, that's very disheartening. You know, they came down how many years ago, senators, and
Yes, sir.
made such a big deal out of how many millions of dollars and falling
So
trouble.
what else you need? We need to decide if we're.
3%, 3.8%.
I want to go over a little bit of economic development, but yes, I also want to have that conversation with the step versus the step plus 3.8.
Really?
Just left eye dominant. I wrote one right hand.
I'm in favor of the step plus 3.8. I mean, we gotta keep relevant, we gotta keep, because we're getting ready to lose one now to the county. That's just on the police side, but, you know, all around it needs, you know, we need to keep our staff in each department.
I don't know about Torres on the county. Yeah.
Any other feedback on the step only versus the step plus the 3.8 suggested by CBiz?
I'm with Joe, I think we need to keep our staff.
Yeah.
And this might not even be enough, but you know, I mean, that's a COLA, so.
Isn't that where we ended up with the actual inflationary number? Close to that, isn't it?
It's close where we ended up last year. I will tell you the CPI for through June of 2026 was 3.53%. COLA last year was 2.8, and this is CBiz's recommendation. So I'm hearing step plus 3.8.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, so you have this. If you have questions on it, we can ask those folks to come to a future meeting. But my recommendation, and these numbers are all included in this, is summarized on this second page. That comes out of a combination of Fund 10 and Fund 23, but it does some of the things that we've been talking about. Business recruitment, community marketing, It says economic development incentives there. We haven't quite developed those yet, but we've got a year to work on it. Small business support, professional services, and economic development partnerships. That's obviously our two partners. This will also mean some of this money, you see it, if you have this, is $75,000. Some of that is included in Robert and Aaron's budgets individually so that they can go to some economic development conferences. And then some of it is included in Fund 23 as part of that county transient tax. And we went to the county commission, I don't know, October, and we gave them a breakdown of what we were going to spend that money on. And that's what some of this is, including the things that you see happening already, which is a test run of trolleying, or I'm sorry, it's either a trolley or a shuttle. People out to the county and from the county into the city, in addition to some of the other items that Aaron talked about tonight. So I just want to give you a brief explanation of that. That is included in this budget.
The hell you keep holding up there? Do we have that?
You got it last week.
Oh,
Looks like this on the front.
Yes, on day one.
Yes, sir.
well, I saw big letters on it.
That's on the back page.
Oh, that's a note paper. Oh, never mind. Oh, well, you shouldn't have paper stacked to it.
Let's talk about that.
Confusing me.
Increases, rate of pay, step plus 3.8. We covered a lot of it.
Hit all the high notes.
We did. Anything else for me budget related?
Dave, this is your first time doing it solo, and I will expand on what we've told Happy the last couple of years. This budget process, even though it's not over, is way better than we've ever done it before. And I appreciate everything you've done to get us this far.
I agree, you did a great job.
Appreciate it. It wasn't just me.
And all doing a great job.
Every
Well, and
department,
Sue and Pam and everybody else.
every department lead, Sue and Pam, and I'm gonna tell you,
But the process we have
Should give them
now,
3.8%.
Sue does a lot of this, so just FYI.
the process we have now is
Probably all of them.
Great job, Sue.
way better than how we did it before.
Yes. A few FYIs. So we have a meeting next week. This was just our work session. Next week, we'll be bringing you some budget amendments for this year's budget. Next week is the tax rate hearing. There'll also be a public hearing about an annexation, a parcel being annexed.
Big parcel. 61.
And then I'll bring this document back to you next week. It won't be on the agenda unless you want to discuss it, but I'll bring this document back to you next week with the changes that we discussed tonight. And then the budget for 2027, first reading will be the first meeting in September. If there's anything that comes up, we have the third Thursday in September to come back and look at it again. But if you're good with it next week.
Right to the
First reading in September week 2, second reading September week 4, and we start the new budget October 1.
I'm a good plan to be.
That's all I got, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay,
Pretty smooth.
all right. Nothing else?
Second. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. We can motion to adjourn, we can just adjourn.
No.
Adjourn.
Get out of here.